Tonight, admitted hitman John Martorano says Whitey was his partner in crime. We have the latest from the Bulger trial. Plus,
we know that if you do well in school, you won't be a part of our system.
Judge Leslie Harris on keeping juveniles out of the justice system. And
so much of it is just about looking and getting past that it's a plastic bottle.
Finding beauty in the objects we discard every day. That's now on Greater Boston. Good evening. A dramatic turn in the James Whitey Bulger trial today as his former associate, John Martorano, takes the stand for the government. Martorano has confessed to 20 murders but served just 12 years in prison after copping a plea deal. Today, he recounted some of those slayings in gruesome detail. Adam Riley has more.
Sporting a dark blue suit with a bright blue handkerchief tucked in the pocket, confessed mass murderer John Martorano looked dapper in court today. He described a dizzying array of murders, including one sequence in which he kept killing the wrong people before finally getting his target. During his testimony, Martorano sounded almost bored, saying blandly of his victims, "Blood went everywhere. I shot him in the heart," and "he wasn't a reputable guy." That stoicism sent a chill through the son of one alleged Bulger victim.
He's the real deal. He's a killer. It doesn't faze him one bit. He talks about shooting people like it's absolutely nothing.
Bulger's lawyers say they'll paint Martorano as an even bigger sociopath than Bulger himself. Martorano's testimony continues tomorrow morning.
And Adam Riley is here along with crime reporter Michelle McPhee, who's been covering the trial for ABC News. I know a lot of this has come out before, but reading all your tweets and everything from court and finding out that not only this guy only does 12 years, he cops a deal, he gets paid by the government $6,000 for the prison commissary, and then they give him a check for $20,000 when he comes out.
And he wasn't even going to go into the witness protection program.
No, he didn't go.
That's a part of this trial that I think is incredibly fascinating that we're not going to hear enough of because the judge has ruled that, hey, the FBI is not on trial here. But the FBI clearly should be on trial here, and I think that J.W. Carney has done a very good job pointing out that, you know, James Katz, the elderly gangster, was paid by the government. It cost us, the taxpayers, $85,000 to put that geriatric gangster in a new apartment. Martorano gets a check for $20,000 when he doesn't even go into the witness protection program.
And
where does this money come from?
He's able to collaborate with Howie Carr on a book and get about a $55,000 advance plus $10,000 or $20,000 in royalties so far. So just the whole thing, the fact that someone like you said can kill 20 people at least. I mean, you know, it's not unreasonable to think he's killed more. For 8 of those, he's not even charged, and then he sort of turns around and monetizes his life of crime, and you know, he skates.
Now the 8 that are on charge, and didn't you find this interesting as well, Adam? The 8 that are on charge are technically unsolved homicides now. So those families never get any closure, and the police departments don't get this closure statistic.
Yeah,
even though we all know who did it.
You tweeted in court today, Adam, I think it was you, I was following everybody today, that you were surprised that he didn't make that many, that John Martorano didn't make that many links to Whitey Bulger, only a couple of times.
We know that he was
following me in another car, and that
or he drove the car to a hip. But it's I would have expected. We know that he was an associate of Bulger's, but I would have expected sort of in every case, you know, and who was at the wheel, and who who told you to do this, who gave you a thumbs up after it was done, Whitey Bulger. And we didn't, at least I saw, we didn't get that. Bulger's name came up, but it wasn't a constant.
And I don't think that there's been a smoking gun yet that say, okay, we have fingerprints on this gun that points to Whitey's involvement in this slaying. There hasn't been any forensic evidence thus far introduced at all that links Whitey Bulger to this case. So it really comes down to which liar do you believe? Well, because everyone in this case is a liar, including the feds.
That's what I was trying to figure out today, because he's admitted to all these murders. They went right through them one by one. That was just stunning. He named the names. He
kind of had a numbing effect.
And he said how he killed, shot him in the heart, did this, did that. But he never said, as you said, that he did it with or.
There were times when he said that Bulger was involved, or it was something that he sat and talked with Howie Winter and Steve Flemmi and Howie Winter, who he kept calling Howie Winters, which was sort of an odd.
He doesn't know the guy.
Tick,
That's a North Shore thing. I think I call him Howie Winters too. It is. It's a North Shore tick.
I really want to stress how little he seemed to care as he was talking about this stuff. He said at one point in one of the murders where he had tried to kill someone and I think that there was collateral damage, additional additional people killed, said something about, oh, he felt terrible and he wanted to take his own life. But it didn't sound like he meant it at all. He didn't sound like he cared about any of this stuff. And in fact, he didn't even it wasn't just that he didn't sound remorseful. He didn't even sound proud, like, yeah, this was my job and I did it well. He just sounded like...
numb to it.
Yeah, totally.
The only time that Johnny Martorano showed any real emotion in court today is that he was genuinely devastated that the two men that he called them, they were my best friends. They were my partners in crime. They were my children's godfathers. I named my youngest son, James Stephen, after James Bulger and Stephen Fleming. The only time, I don't know if you agree with this, that he got broken up is when he said, I was sort of heartbroken.
He used the word heartbroken.
I didn't catch it in the tone as much then, but definitely in the words. For a guy like this to say he was heartbroken, that's a big thing. There was a point where he talked about how he was working with, I'm blanking on the state trooper's name, but a corrupt state trooper.
Schneiderham.
Who was helping him out with information. And when he said, I wanted to think of him as a friend, or words to that effect, I thought I heard a little, hitch in the voice there, too, which struck me as odd.
Well, because he just threw this guy, his career's over, his pension's over,
This state trooper.
The state trooper. But again, I mean...
not necessarily.
The corruption in law enforcement is absolutely staggering. In fact, I think Schneiderham does still get a pension, as a matter of fact.
So was there any eye contact, interaction, acknowledgement whatsoever between Whitey Bulger and John Martorano today?
It was tough from where I was because you're sitting in the media section of the courtroom. We're in the sort of back left corner, and you can see the left back, maybe a little bit of the side of Whitey Bulger's head, and you can try to see if these guys are looking at each other. But I didn't catch much tangible. I don't know about you.
This is the problem. It's if in the media room, which I prefer, where you can actually work and write, you would never get a shot of Whitey Bulger's face. You only get the witness. But in the courtroom, you can't see anybody, and you really can't work. So it's tough. It's been tough to get Whitey's reaction. The only thing that was audible was when he snickered on Friday, when Dickie O'Brien, the bookmaker, talked about how I brought a guy down there, and Whitey told him, I have a side business, too. I like killing bleeps like you.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't get over this story. I can't remember the guy's name, Joe Nazareno or something, Nazarello.
Indian Joe.
Yeah, Indian Joe. He goes after this guy. He's got him targeted. I can't remember why. He accidentally kills the wrong person. Oops, goes and tries to find...
He actually said that.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong guy.
Wrong guy. And then he does it again. He gets somebody else wrong. And
I
then...
think 3 people killed, right? In each
a
of those.
woman, a teenager, and a driver.
Yeah.
And this is the car that they... Well, was this the one where they actually...
That's the first one.
That's the first car.
Michael Milano and 2.
And that's called, by the way, Emily, a broadside. We learned today.
I'm getting all the lingo today.
I love the lingo today, a broadside. Which
it's not like a car accident. It's like blown away with a machine gun.
We should note that we referred to him as an acknowledged or admitted hitman at the start. And one interesting thing that he did today under prompt. Well, but he was a hitman, right? He was. Howie Carr titled the book that for a reason. But he claimed, it's not accurate to say I was a hitman because I wasn't doing this for money. I guess the implication is he was doing it for more honorable reasons or something like that.
Well, come on. The whole racketeering enterprise is making money. And in order to maintain the criminal enterprise, he has to whack people, right?
But he doesn't want to be. He seems to think that term is below him.
Well, the motivation for all these crimes, was it because they were infringing on their territory? I mean, what was it? What are you blowing all these people away for?
His first 2 murders he testified to were about 2 men who were going to implicate his brother, Jimmy, in the murder of a waitress in 1964.
That's right, 66 maybe.
Yeah, 1964. This poor girl was murdered. Her body was stashed in an upstairs office for days.
At the family restaurant, Luigi's.
At Luigi's. Good thing he didn't have the linguine at Luigi's, I guess, in 1964. And then he whacked the 2 people who were going to implicate his brother. And even that was astonishing. Like Bobby Palladino was at an after-hours club playing cards, and Whitey said, I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes. And he very matter-of-factly said, well, he pulled out a gun, he got a shot off, so I shot him.
And then there were other cases where it would be like someone beat him up. Someone beat up Martorano, so he tracked him down and killed him. Someone laughed at Stephen Fleming, so they tracked him down and killed him. Someone, as we said in the opening, wasn't a reputable guy. Maybe they were, dealing drugs or something, and so they killed him. I mean, it could be a legitimate threat. In the sequence that we've talked about where they tried to get one guy and kept getting the wrong people, that guy had allegedly killed a mafia bookie, and so Jerry Andrulo, the head of the mafia...
That guy was dumb for not... blowing town. What by the way,
he did for a bit, and then came back.
Did he address the murder directly of Deborah Davis? Did he say that she was killed by...
We didn't get to that yet. I mean, honestly, we're only up to the 70s in homicides after an entire day of testimony, right? I think we got to 1974. And now, of course, we have 20 more years of hits to get through probably in tomorrow's testimony.
And I really wonder, as the jury listens to all this, and this guy's one of the key witnesses against Bulger, I wonder if they're becoming inured to his acknowledged, the homicides he's carried out. I wonder if they're seeing him as not credible, or if, when this is all said and done, pardon me, the prosecution will be able to say, you remember all the horrible things that John Martorano has acknowledged doing, and Whitey Bulger was intimately linked to this. I don't know how it's going to play out when the jury deliberates. I mean, it's a long time.
I couldn't believe
go ahead,
you said that one of the jurors fell asleep again.
I got to say, I think the sleepy juror, I'm pretty sure I saw him nodding off and catching himself yet again today, which makes me wonder.
That's
he did
wrong.
it a couple times, and I feel like at a certain point,
the judge is
going to have to say, "Hey, buddy, can you
wake up?
This? Yeah.
You want some coffee, dude?"
Right. I mean, there aren't transcripts of this. They're going to be relying on their memories, so he's missing some important stuff. Now, he is an alternate, but you want an alternate who can do the job.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have been willing to take his place. All right, this is fascinating. Michelle McPhee, thanks so much.
Adam Riley.
Thanks, Emily.
All right, and a reminder to stay tuned to WGBH for continuing coverage of the Whitey Bulger trial right here on Greater Boston, as well as 89.7 WGBH Radio and at WGBHnews.org.